Hey there, hope you're doing well. Let's talk a little bit about the latest version of Flutter and Dart upgrades. I did a video a few days ago. I just talked about some of the issues I ran into, maybe one of them. This is the next one. Not so much an issue, but just some pointers. So hopefully it'll help your upgrade to Dart 2.12, which is, I believe, the latest version where they support where Dart supports null safety. And then the latest Flutter version is like 2.0.2, I think. So you need to upgrade to Flutter 2 and then Dart 2.12.0 at the minimum. Maybe that is the latest version to enable null safety in your code. And I love Dart for many reasons, like Flutter for many reasons. One of them is type safety. The stronger the typing, the more the issues you would catch at compile or analysis time. So when you go to runtime, you don't run into the issues that you could have caught earlier, right? So type safety is awesome. That's one reason I like Flutter and Dart. But with null safety, they've actually gone one step further, which is very cool. It's great, but it's kind of a double-edged sword, at least initially, because there is going to be an effort involved for you to make that upgrade. So when I enabled Dart null safety, I saw like close to 9,000 errors, give or take, right? Literally, because when we wrote the code, of course, it was in the previous version where null safety was not supported, and now it changes. And just if it's not already obvious, null safety is once you enable null safety, which is by upgrading to that version of Dart, what it's going to check for all of your definitions, like method definitions, forget method definitions, like essentially, long story short, every variable is going to disallow null values, right, by default. Once you enable null safety, that's what it means. None of those variables will allow null values by default, but you can override it and actually consciously allow null values. You may, for the ones that you have, the code that you have in the past, you're going to have to do it, otherwise you're going to have thousands of these errors, right? So you would add a question mark after the following the data type as a suffix to tell Dart that, hey, you know what, it's all right for this variable to actually have a null value. So that's the essence of the upgrade. So if you add null safety to type safety, you're going to catch even more at design time or compile time or analysis time, whatever you want to call it, before it goes to runtime, because you don't want to wait till it goes to runtime to catch these errors. So that's very cool. But it takes an effort to get there. So when I saw like 9,000 errors, I looked at it. It's not just a matter of adding these question marks or bangs, which is the opposite of the question mark in this case. But anyways, right? It's not straightforward, because depending on what your code does and how you've written it, you may have to make a variety of changes. But this is the essence. This is the foundation of the change. But it's going to require that you make a lot more changes. So I started doing it, and I spent like about 4 to 6 hours, I think, give or take. And I got through about 300 to 400 of those errors. I did that as fast as I could, but it still took like 6 hours just to, hash out those numbers of errors. Then I realized, doing it for 8,000, 9,000 errors to fix them, I would need a lot more time. And you have to do it organically, right? You can't do it immediately. So here is what I did. So this is all the background information. But let me tell you what I did and what you could possibly do. I think you should first of all enable null safety, right? The sooner you do that, the better off you are. So I would advise that you don't delay the inevitable. You go to pubspec.yaml, and then you just go to the SDK version. You do a Flutter upgrade from the command line, and then you go to the SDK version, and you're going to set it to 2.12.0. That's what I have there, right? Yep, I think it's 2.12.0. That's the minimum version that you have to enable for null safety to kick in. Once you make the change, you do a Flutter pub get, and then what you can do is there is a dot migrate command that you could possibly use. I tried to do that, but it just didn't work for me. It threw a bunch of different errors. One of them was it couldn't find my Flutter SDK, even though it was very much in the path. And then once I think I got past that, it gave me some other errors. It was just too painful. So what I did was I was like, forget it. I'm not going to go through the dot migrate command. I'm just going to enable it by doing that upgrade. So I did change the version number, so the null safety kicked in, and I saw a bunch of these errors, and I started resolving some of them. And then I asked, I knew it was not going to be possible to resolve like 8,000 plus errors in like one sitting or even 2 or 3 sittings, right? Then I was looking for ways to do it organically, meaning I want to do it for certain files, certain sets of files, maybe certain directories, and then maybe push out a new version and then keep going, right? As we make changes, as we touch these files as we go, we could actually fix them so they become they satisfy the null safety requirements. So luckily I found a directive that Dart supports, which is pretty cool. I'm sure the dev team thought about this because they probably didn't expect all consumers to do the upgrade on one fine day, because it's not possible. So there is a directive you could add the top of on each of these files. You would have a comment, a directive as a comment, and say add Dart equals 2.9. You can look up the syntax, but essentially you're telling Dart that file is not going to support null safety, and you want to keep that version number to 2.9, which did not support null safety. So what I did was I fixed like 300 to 400 or maybe close to even 500 errors, and then for all the other ones, like the remaining 7,500 or maybe 7,700 errors, I just went to each and every one of those files. I mean, you can either do it manually or you can just write a script that sticks it at the top of each of these files, however you want to do it. But essentially you need to add them to each of these files. So you set the version number to 2.9. Sorry, did I say 2.9? What am I? It's basically, oops, I think I'm getting the version numbers. Yeah, it is 2.9, sorry. I was thinking about some other version number. So 2.12.0 is where null safety is enabled, and 2.9 is where it's not enabled. So you just set that to 2.9. So then all of your errors are going to disappear, because you want to make sure your Dart analysis is clean. I don't like forget errors, right? I don't even want to see any warnings or any deprecations or anything of that nature, because it's going to, if you don't see a clear or a clean Dart analysis, then if there are some warnings or deprecations, you would miss the ones that are more important, right? You don't want to wait for if something is deprecated, you don't want to wait till the time where it's de-supported, because that's going to become an error. So I like to have my Dart analysis like clear, like clean basically. So even if there's one warning, I'll actually spot it and I want to address it before I push out the changes to the App Store or the Play Store. So that's what you have to keep in mind. I talked about some other issues in the first video. If you haven't seen it, feel free to check it out. There's other ones I've run into, or I ran into, because I've resolved them now. I'll just speak to it in the subsequent video. But again, one more time, don't forget, I think you should do the upgrade, the sooner the better, because your productivity is going to increase many-fold, right? With type safety and null safety, you cannot start churning out code really quickly, churning out features and writing a lot of code, right? So that's pretty cool. That's all I have to say in this video. But before I end the video, check out our latest version. I think we have this version 64 on the app and Play stores. They approved it like a couple of days back. You're going to see some new features and bug fixes, the usual routine. And also check out our platform on the web. I think we pushed out, I can't remember the version number, like 260 something as well. So to just make sure you get the latest and greatest, and then manage all of your projects, not just at work, but at home, in school and college. Have fun. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.